being a victim. I used to be the best victim. I was really good at it, and I got a lot of benefits too, because people would feel sorry for me. And, oh, all the hardships, all the things I'd endured. It's really quite funny when I look at it now. Because being a victim, you give away your power. So being a victim, like he did that to me, she did that to me, my mother did that for me. It's all my mother's fault. It's all my father's fault. It's the government's fault. It's, oh, look at me, poor me. Feel sorry for me. I'm just a little victim. And, you get benefits because people feel sorry for you, and you're a pitiful charitable case. So I faced on that. Um, but taking your power back and taking responsibility for your part in any situation is quite a different matter. But once you do that, you take your power back, but you also realize you're a powerful creator. You're not just a victim, circumstances don't just happen to you, and nobody likes to hear this. But once you take responsibility for your life and say, well, look, I created this drama. How do I get out of it? How do I stop doing it? You become accountable. And I see in my own life that everything that has ever happened to me, I was broadcasting that from myself. I may not have known it, but growing up in a violent home, I had covered it up a lot, but I broadcast that. So I attracted violent people because I didn't want to take responsibility for my own anger. I had other people to play that out for me. And then I was, I'm just a poor little victim, not knowing that I hadn't resolved my own anger and let it go. So when I had breast cancer, I started peeling away the layers of all my feelings, and I found that I was actually pissed off, angry, I had a lot of rage, and I'd covered that up really well, even from myself. So that's how far we'll go, to defend ourselves and say we're just sweet little people, victim of society, and I can't do anything about it. But it's really not true at all. And once you let go of all that, it's quite funny. And then you can actually say, well, what do I want? And you can start asking for what you want. And you can be really clear about it. And you may be surprised that you actually get it. Because we're creating our reality. We're creating our life in every moment of every day, every second. We're like a radio broadcaster saying to the universe, this is what I want. And we may not be saying it verbally, but from our being, that's the message we're sending. So when we're victims, we attract the perfect people to show us what we're broadcasting. Isn't that exciting? So whenever anything comes into my life and it's a little challenging, say, oh, well, this is something to look at now. This is quite a challenge. And I remember in Hong Kong, I was a stockbroker and I was working so hard. My husband was an alcoholic and he was drinking so much he'd become violent. I could have just sat down, had a nervous breakdown, or I could have moved on and I just knew I had to work and survive for my two children at the time. And I didn't have the luxury of falling into depression or having a breakdown. I had to feed two children. So my choice at the time was to stay strong, stay in control. And it was only much later when I had the time and had the willingness to look under my facade, my mask of being self-sufficient and strong, did I find that I was actually very vulnerable and feeling all the hurts, all the pain, and but the amazing thing is once you feel it, then you can release it and let it go forever. And then you start attracting good things to happen in your life. Loving people come into your life who want to give to you. Gosh, before it was just everyone came into my life to rip me off because I had such a fear of being ripped off. But now, so life can change. It all depends on you. Absolutely depends on you. So you don't have to be a victim of circumstances. Even if you're in a circumstance where you're not happy in your job, in your marriage, in your growing up as a child, you can be happy in yourself. I mean, people in concentration camps, some of them survived because they kept themselves happy inside. It's an inside job. So it doesn't matter on any circumstances out there. It's what happens inside with how you feel about yourself. So when you can open up your heart and maintain love for yourself, no matter what situation is presenting itself, and then that is what you're broadcasting. So guess what? Then more love and more people that love you come into your life. So it's really exciting. Um, I know which side I'd rather be. I'd rather be a not a victim anymore, but somebody who takes charge, who's responsible for my life, and if anything that I deem as bad, or although there's no good or bad, comes into my life, well, here's another challenge. How am I going to look at that? Where have I been responsible for that? And I have been responsible. I've said things about people, judging them, and actually I was judging myself. You know, we beat ourselves up so much, and so disciplining yourself and not beating yourself up anymore, you don't have to do it to others either. And so life turns around and you can just have a wonderful, loving time filled with love and joy and peace. So it all comes from us. It's like when you start living in love, love is all around you and people are so supportive and we're making our own heaven or hell every day, living right here. It's not a place you can go up to or go down to. We can have a living hell or we can have, a loving life. It's all our choice. It's a choice every day, every second. So it's all up to us. And I'm so glad that I learned not to be a victim anymore and chose to let go of anger, resentment, and judgment. Oh, such judgment. And living a happy, happy life. And what you reap is what you sow. So what you give out, if you decide not to badmouth anymore, not to gossip, not to have judgment on others and yourself, guess what? You find people stop judging you. Funny, isn't it? And the respect you give to yourself, then others start respecting you. If you are sitting there with no money, you've just lost your job, or, if you feel wealthy inside, that abundance will come to you. It's just when you're feeling alone, lonely, feeling fear and scarcity that you keep the love and abundance out. So take responsibility, let the love come in, and just live your life like an exciting play every day in love and joy and say, well, what can we create today? Instead of sitting there, what's going to happen to me today? I know which side of the fence I like now. So take responsibility and be accountable and show up in life. It's really a lot of fun. Join me and have some fun and joy and let's have a good old laugh.